Hello, good evening, and welcome to the RTD's English news. Tonight, as a headlines, we have technical committee meeting on the unemployment. A submarine cable of Africa, Asia, Europe arrived in Djibouti.
Those were the top stories. Thank you for joining us. We have a news release from the Interior Minister yesterday evening at 9 p.m. Possession control of the road safety held by the National Gendarmerie in the region of Lac Assal as being the target of an army attack. In a press release issued today by the Minister of Interior indicate that this heinous attack perpetrated around 9 p.m. Two officers of the forces of Gendarmerie have been killed, Zakaria Ismail and Musa Bahdon Farah, soldier, falling in the field of honors in the exercise of their function, which the government presents its condolence to the members of their families. Furthermore, an army assailant was also killed, Muhammad Ali Lubak, known as Der Muhammad, leader in the Eritrean military. Let's recall that those brave soldiers assigned to the possession of the road safety in the Lac Assal have been for the main mission to make the first aid to the engineer on the road. This therefore not a military post itself, but a unit of aid and relief in respect of the population which has been referred and attack. This murderous attack visibly perpetrated by mercenaries from Eritrea who seek to restrain by all means the implementation of a major development project in course of achievement in the country, and especially those of scale implemented to this region of Lac Assal, which around in areas of kinds, including the first phase of the industrial areas, is already well underway. This involvement in effect the particularity on accumulate on its parameters several achievements in the advanced phases, such that the project of geothermal or that of exploitation of silt or the central mega turbine on before produced under the leader of a few 60 megawatts of the green energy and amounting the nearly of 150 million euros and dollars of investment, without forgetting the project of the port of Gubei, whose inaugurating in imminent remain that this operation of a terror do not will begin in nothing not more than the previous the effort of a government to maintain its effort to develop Djibouti and the register in an unwavering the trajectory, even to ensure the peace, prosperity and better living to the Djiboutian people.
The submarine cable Asia, Africa, Europe #1 has arrived today in Djibouti. The cargo ship relayed by a challenge have filed the cable this afternoon at the beach La Siesta from Hong Kong. The boat arrived in Djibouti this afternoon after installing 25,000 kilometers of cable. It passed by 16 countries of Southeast Asia and Africa, the Middle East, and Europe as well. It must connect Hong Kong to the city of Marseille and therefore behind three continents. The arrival to the earth at the beach La Siesta has given rise to a ceremony which has brought together the Ministry of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, the Director General of Djibouti Telecom, Mohamed Assawi Bouh, as well as the whole responsible of Djibouti Telecom.
his speech, the Director General of Djibouti Telecom, Mr. Mohamed Assoui, explained that the work of installing this new submarine cable will last until the end of the month of February. It has also indicated, for just a reminder, this submarine cable will connect to Hong Kong and Marseille and will cross the 16 countries. The cable length is 25,000 kilometers on plane technology. This cable will use the latest technology in the field of submarine cable, the multiple load to wavelength to the 100 GB in the respect to the Republic of Djibouti. This cable will further consolidate our position of an international hub. And finally told the director, total investment provided by Djibouti Telecom is $14 million.
On his side, the Minister of Telecommunication, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, said that everybody is here today to see that the submarine cable Asia, Africa, Europe #1, which is the first of its kind, come from the T's connected to Djibouti. It specified that this has been signed 2 years ago, and today the cable is here in Djibouti, and this is a historic day for the history of the telecommunication of Djibouti. And once again, we have made not the hub of the region. Finally, I congratulate the minister, everything who have worked for this to be a success, and I begin by Djibouti Telecom, and also thanks to our technical and financial partner, to know the bank BCI and the French Development Agency who co-fund this project.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Qasim Issa Usman, has received this morning in his office an American delegation led by the Director of USAID in Washington, all the countries of Africa, accompanied by the Director of USAID Mission of Ethiopia. The objective of this meeting was to discuss between the Minister of Health and the Director of USAID Africa the support and the partnership of the USAID at the level of the Republic of Djibouti, especially on projects relating to health. It was a question of strengthening the project of Pulse far beyond 2017 project which support the founding of the fight against HIV/AIDS and the national level, the renewal founding earmark for the fight against tuberculosis, the strengthening of a cooperation in the construction of a new health post in the more remote areas and non-covered region of the interior. The Minister of Health, Dr. Qasim Issa Usman, thanked the Director of the USAID Africa of the constant support to the US, including the Republic of Djibouti, and as especially in the health sector. This has the aim and reflect the agreement on the actuating the federal cooperation between the government of Djibouti and the American government. Were present at this meeting Mr. Abdurrahman Abu Bakr Mohammed, Secretary General of and Mr. Assoui Abdullah, Director of Health Region, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed, the Executive Secretary of the Health, and Mr. Mohammed Musa, Director of Priority Disease, and finally Ms. Daqa Abu Bakr Hadi, Director of Promotion and the Ministry of Health.
The Minister of Labour responsible for the reform of administration, Abdi Hussein Ahmed, has received this morning in his cabinet a delegation of the USAID, driven by the representative of the USAID in Djibouti, Mr. Gabriel Gros. The delegation was composed of the senior regional manager of the USAID, in the case the Deputy Assistant Administrator in charge of the office in Africa, Mr. William Hamnick, and the Director of the Office of the USAID in Ethiopia. In a visit to Djibouti from 7 to 9 February 2016, the participant in the National Forum scheduled from 8 February in Djibouti. During this meeting, of the question of general interest have been raised, including the multi-sectoral project implementation by the USAID in order to improve the match between training employment. This project is divided into 5 components, which include accompaniment aims to improve of the employment. This program is already established in the operational plan and action of the National Employment Policy, put under the technical supervision of the ANIFIP. The meeting was attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Employment, Abdullah Ali Mohammed, a technical advisor in communication from the Minister, the Director General of the ANIFIP, and the Director of the INAP.
The Secretary General of the Office of Prime Minister, Mr. Naguib Abdullah Kamil, has held this morning a meeting of a technical committee on the vocational integration of a young unemployed this Sunday in the meeting room of the Office of Prime Minister. This working session was attended the Secretary General of Youth and Sport, the President of the Chamber of Commerce and the University, the Director of the ANIFIP, external funding of the DZ and ADDS vocational training, as well as lawyers of the Office of the Prime Minister. Taking the floor in the first place, the Secretary General has indicated that this meeting is the result of the length of a circular and the Prime Minister dated on 2 February last on the mechanism for the professional insertion of a young unemployed. He welcomed the member of the technical committee present at the meeting, indicating that this meeting focusing on the track of reflection in order to solve the problem of unemployed young people in our country. It has from the outset stressed that the unemployment of young people is a recurring problem at the international level, which is not specific to our nation but requires a comprehensive response on the part of national authorities. There were no miracle solution to the problem of the unemployability of the young people, but it is essential to reflect the proposed specific solution to insert these young people in the very short term in the labor market. It is our duty and our responsibility, has added the Minister.
The Secretary General of the Premature Naguib Abdullah Mohammed said in a speech this meeting was organized after a circular of the Prime Minister dated to 2 February. This committee was set up to think and solve the problem of integration of young people. This is a recurring problem, not only in our country but international. That is the government under the leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, expect from this committee. It is reinvent the national employment policy, which also has a carefully organized work by the ANIFIP and the Ministry of the Employment, and he is not about to prepare a law and find a miracle solution.
It was preceded today at the People's Palace the opening of the workshop for the presentation of results of the development of national health accounts for the fiscal years of 2011 to 2014, carried out by the Minister of Health in support with the World Health Organization office in Djibouti. Recall that in order to effectively fulfill the fundamental mission that is assigned to that the design, the implementation and the follow-up and the assessment of state policy in the field of health, that the Department of Health has undertaken the development of national health account for the fiscal years of 2011 to 2014. Note that it was to put in place the accounts of health within the constitute of a document of reference in a matter of health financing. They provide information of the levels of expenditures on health, as well as the structure of their distribution in terms of source of financing healthcare provides and conceptions. This is between the framework of a policy of access to healthcare universal that remain on the major objective to the Department of Health and described in the national plan for the health development. The Acting Secretary General of the Health, the World Health Organization representative in Djibouti, the representative of UNICEF to Djibouti, and officials of the health program have taken part to this workshop.
The acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Health has indicated that the access to care is one of the major objectives of the Ministry of Health, as he described in 2012 to 2017. However, you should be with me in our struggle to achieve to the noble goal, improving health service management, the effective involvement of the technical and financial partner of the sector organization, and to the civil society and community. It's also an essential factor in this statement challenge. Then he added that more achieving this goal require the implementation of certain reform from the development of the mechanisms funding of the health sector that aim to sustain the supply and demand become solvable.
The country of the South have developed this last year of a new strategy of cooperation, mainly based on exchange of experiences. This new cooperation, South-South, that has developed in recent years reflect in particular in the training of a student between this country as well as in the university and on the plane of the vocational training in the specialized companies. This concept of cooperation, South-South, is widely shared by Djibouti with the Sudan or other countries of the continent. In the framework of this cooperation of a South-South cooperation, a team of RTDs travel to Khartoum, or it has carried out a series of reportage and the multiple axes of cooperation between Djibouti and Sudan. Today, we will mention the component of higher education of a student Djiboutian are to the number of 400 fellows of the Sudanese state. Here are our magazine carried out in Khartoum.
The higher education has become the #1 priority for all government and people. Those governments are working hard to reduce the level of illiteracy rate through the improvement of the educational system. Among the countries who put education at the forefront of their governmental agenda is the Republic of Sudan. A team of the Djibouti National Television has recently made a trip to Sudan and made this report about the situation of the Djiboutian student living in Sudan. In the last 2 decades, the Republic of Sudan has experienced a particular evolution in the educational field. According to recent statistics, over 35 universities and dozens higher institutes from various sectors of expertise have seen the light in Sudan. The University of Africa International is one of the largest universities in the Republic of Sudan and the most important, conferred by the Deputy Director of the University, Mr. Samer Kurashi. The International University of Africa has made tremendous progress after the launching of the new different departments such as the medical, dental laboratories, nursing and pharmaceutical. The university is composed of 22 different departments, several institutions and research centers. As a matter of fact, the university welcomes currently around 15,000 students, in which 200 students are from Djibouti in the scientific fields, medical and engineering. We congratulate the Djiboutian students and we hope to welcome more in the next few years. In the framework of the bilateral cooperation between the Republic of Djibouti and the Republic of Sudan in the field of higher education, the Sudanese University gives scholarship for 400 Djiboutian students according to the Djiboutian ambassador in Sudan, Mr. Ahmed Ali Parre. The Republic of Djibouti and Sudan's relations are deeply rooted in the history of the two countries. The bilateral cooperation in the field of higher education has experienced a great progress thanks to the leadership of the Djiboutian head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, and his Sudanese counterpart, Mr. Omar Hassan al-Bashir. Both education higher ministers of the two countries have recently signed a cooperation agreement to exchange skills and experience in the coming year. The Djiboutian students in Sudan have welcomed in a statement broadcasted on the national television the relentless effort undertaken by the two governments to improve the cooperations in the field of education. We express our gratitude to the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for his commitment and his tireless effort to the education. We are willing to contribute to the construction of our country after the end of our studies. We affirm our single-minded support for the wise policy of the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for the student in Sudan. Finally, the two countries have agreed to further consolidate their bilateral relation.
The industry director, in partnership with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, organized the training closing ceremony on the maintaining and servicing outboard Yamaha 40, the use of GPS and fish finder for the benefit of the fishermen cooperative in the capital and the interior region. Cooperative Loyada Damerjuk Obok Daily Khor Angar Tajura Khalaf Sagalu and Tree Association of Fishing Port of Djibouti. The ceremony was chaired by the Senior Advisor for the Industry, Minister of Economic and Finance for Industry, Mr. Ibrahim Hamadou, in the presence of Mr. Kohe, Chair Secretary for Economic Affairs and Economic Cooperation Embassy of Japan, Mr. Sadiq Abubakar Ahmed Ismail, Director of Industry Projects, Director Mr. Ayako Ogawa, and Senior Marine Automotive Mr. The training lasts 2 weeks and focus on 45 trainers. These professional fishermen issue of cooperative and fishermen association have been formed according to their experiences, advanced interview technique, and the maintenance of outboard engine Yamaha 40, the use of GPS in senior fisheries. In their intervention, Mr. Ibrahim Hamadou highlights the importance of the training and the need to share learning with other members of the cooperative and association of fishermen and make sustainable use of GPS and kits installation of the driver of fishing boats. A total of 27 GPS and 18 kits were distributed to each trainer. Let's recall that the training of fish drying technique for the benefit of the 23 vessels was conducted in November 2015. These capacity building activities within the scope of the project implemented by the UNIDO in partnership with the Industry Department. The project aimed to build the resiliences of vulnerable communities, including women, against potential disaster through support in obtaining a diversified livelihood. The project is funded by the government of Japan with a total budget of $330,000 for a period of 1 year.
The ambassador of Djibouti to Japan had also made a speech in which he explained the importance of fishing training. It is a goal livelihoods through the supporting of fisheries, he said. The ambassador also spoke about the importance of research available to our country and that there are a lot of possibility of development potential of the fisheries. He have also conducted the training of sulfur technique fish that drying near women and serve to the diversity the means of conversation and fish consumption. The Japanese ambassador has concluded.
The Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with Presga, organized today a cleaning session in Loyada Beach. This project follows a campaign launched by Presga in 2030, which has an aim to protect the environment. This project brought together the senior to the Loyada area that they carry out of Market Garden was to pick up were then short according to the roadmap after the respective region Obok and Tajura, and it's now the turn of Arta, particularly in Loyada. With the participation of the National Road Authority and Kuwait, they made a good job of picking. This was the director from the Ministry of Environment, Mr. Hussein Rirash and Idris, for the coordination and operation of this work.
As part of the preparation for the National Youth Game, the Secretary General of the Federation, Mr. Saeed Ali Hussein, has held a meeting with the National Sport Federation. These 8 federations are such as the table tennis, football, handball, and judo, volleyball, and athletics. This meeting was intended to distribute the calendars of conduct of sport activities of the final phase of the games, which ran from 11 to 17 February 2016. He also discussed the program with the Federation arbitration in the different disciplines.
And always in the framework of the preparation for the National Youth Game, the president of the game, Ahmed Mohamed Salem, has held a meeting this morning with the representative of health institution and security. The objective of this meeting was to plan with these institutions the modality of intervention. Indeed, these institutions will have to intervene in the village of the game. There were young people from different regions and will be accommodated, but also at the game site to ensure the safety of these young people and medical coverage. The involvement of these institutions is crucial to the success of this game, which gathered a very large number of young people of the nationals.
Moving on to the continental news now. In Burkina Faso, militants have freed an Australian woman kidnapped with her husband last month in Burkina Faso, releasing her and neighboring Niger, Jocelyn Elliott, and her husband, Mr. Keane, who are in their 18 were snatched from Djibo near the borders with Mali. The couple have provided medical service in the town since 1970. Al-Qaeda-linked militants said the kidnapping was an attempt to secure the release of imprisoners and fighters in jihadist monitoring group, said the group of Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb said in an audio recording that it will release Mr. Elliott so as not to make a woman involved in their war. According to the translation made by the site intelligence organization, Mr. Elliott appeared alongside Nigeria's President Muhammadu Yusufu in the town of Dosso. Nigeria's presidential spokesman said efforts to free her husband were continuing. The spokesman added, the Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull confirmed that the Australian government had been in contact with Mr. Elliott following her release.
In Morocco now, the first phase of what it's become the largest concentration solar power plant in the world has been opened in the Moroccan city of Ouzrat. At the completion of the 518 megawatt complex will provide clean electricity for more than 1 million people, helping Morocco reach its goal from generating 42% of the country's energy need from renewable source by 2020 and 52% by 2030. Saeed Mohammed for more information.
King Mohammed VI on Thursday inaugurated Morocco's first solar power plant, a massive project that the country sees as part of its global goal of boosting its clean energy output. The Prime Minister Ben Kiran, Environment Minister Ségolène Royal were among local and foreign officials who attended the opening on the edge of the Sahara Desert, around 20 kilometers outside Ouarzazate. Royal said the project gave great hope to all countries with lot of sun and desert who could next, and a call for tenders is open for Noor 4 once all phases are complete. It is to be the largest concentrated solar power plant in the world and produce 500 megawatts of electricity, providing power to more than 1 million Moroccans by 2018.
On the international scene now, the Asia North Korean launched a long-range rocket on Sunday carrying what it said was a satellite, but its neighbors of Washington denounced the launch of what missile tests conducted in defiance of a UN sanction. The launch came just a week after a nuclear bomb test. Let's listen to this comment.
North Korea has launched a long-range rocket in defiance of international warnings. Pyongyang neighbors, along with Washington, have denounced the Sunday launching as missiles test. It came just a week after North Korea said it has tested a nuclear bomb. South Korea president said North Korea ignored our warning from the international community and has committed an unacceptable provocation by launching a long-range missiles after conducting the fourth nuclear test. The UN press office confirmed that an emergency meeting for the Security Council will be held later on Sunday at the request of South Korea, Japan, and the US. North Korea is barred by the UN Security Council from using ballistic missiles technology. To launch a missile after conducting a foreign nuclear test goes clearly against the UN resolution. We will respond resolutely, coordinating closely with the international community, said Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
That was the English news. Thank you for your attention and stay with us. The program still continue on after this.